What's up, everybody? It's John Trigg, the Rolling Realtor, and I'm back, busted wrist and all, to answer your questions on real estate. So today's questions, we're going to do some stuff on foreclosures because I've been getting a lot more questions on them. So I want to give you guys some of the myths around it and some of the misunderstandings around foreclosures. So hopefully I can get you guys some better information. So the first myth, and this isn't a huge one, but I have had more than one person who has asked me this question, so I'm going to answer it for you guys. And most of you may know this already. So the question was, I had a person ask me, he said, John, if I am in a house, I own a house, and I go through foreclosure, does the bank pay me back for all the payments that I made up until the date of foreclosure when they resell my house to get the money back? No, they don't. They don't cut you a check. They don't give you anything back. You're not supposed to go into foreclosure. Foreclosure isn't an idea for you to take your investment back out of the house. Foreclosure is because you aren't making your payments. So the bank will not cut you a check. You don't get any of those payments back that you've already made. Unfortunately, the system is just not set up that way. So that was the first thing. The second thing I had, second question on foreclosures. What's the process of getting a foreclosure house once it goes to auction? So this one has a lot to do with state regulation. You need to talk to someone in your own state because every state has different rules for available cash on hand, how much has to be put down, the amount of time before the full amount is due, and what you need to show in terms of your financial stability or financial access to cash. In Pennsylvania, I believe, and don't quote me because I haven't checked the numbers, I don't do a lot of foreclosure auction work, but I believe it's 10% down at the time of foreclosure auction, and the remaining balance is due, I believe it's 20 days, but please check locally. Like I said, I don't do a lot of auction business, so I'm not really well versed on how much is due and when, but the last person I talked to, I believe those are the numbers they gave me. So the whole idea with an auction is the foreclosure has gone so long, the bank just wants to get rid of it. They just want to dump the thing. Now, can you get a great deal? Yeah, you can get a great deal on some houses once it goes to auction because it's sometimes going to sell for a lot less than it would in open market. However, and this is a really big however to keep in mind, you do not have the luxury of inspections. You don't have the luxury of appraisals. You don't have the luxury of going through the property and checking it out beforehand. Once a property is going to go to a sheriff's sale, the open availability to get into that property, even as a realtor, is gone. Very, very, very infrequently that I know of can anybody get into a house once it goes to auction. And in most of the listings that say they're going to auction, it says you cannot go through the house under any circumstances. So, if a house is going to auction, you're basically going off what you can see from the street to determine whether or not you want to buy it. The problem with that is that these auction houses, they don't always have plumbing in them. They don't always have toilets. They don't always have sinks. They don't always have kitchens. Sometimes the cabinets have been taken out, or the countertops have been taken out, or the flooring has been dug up, or the house has some big damage done in the inside, or the roof is caving in. You don't know, and that's the thing you have to watch out for. When you do auction houses, they don't come with warranties. They don't come with special, stipulations. You can't walk through it. You can't ask for cash back or credits if you see something you don't like. An auction house is just that. You're taking a chance at an auction to get a house at a cheaper rate, and then you're taking it as is. So that's the second thing with foreclosures and the auction process. Now, in terms of buying an REO, which is a real estate owned, which is where the bank owns a property and they're selling it for fair market value or as close to fair market value as possible. It's a whole different situation, a whole different ballgame. The house may still have been a foreclosure house, but you can actually walk through these homes. You can get a realtor, get into the house, walk around, see what you think. Now, let me make a stipulation here and let you know, it is an extreme rarity that a bank will negotiate anything with you on a foreclosed house, an REO house. An extreme rarity. In a few small cases, they may be willing to do a seller finance back or an assist at closing, but it's very rare that you're going to be able to have an inspection process and then go back to the bank and say, the house was $300,000, inspections came back at $12,000, we only want to do $288 now. That's a rarity. It may happen, I can't say that it won't because I don't operate in all 50 states, but don't bank your money on hoping to find a lot at inspection. Most of the time, in my experience so far, the price is the price is the price, And the only negotiation you can typically make is to ask for maybe a little bit of concession at the time of closing. Not much more than that. But since foreclosures are all run on a state level, check with a local agent to make sure that that is the way it goes in your area. Okay, so that's number 3 on foreclosures. Number 4, do I think buying a foreclosure home is a good idea? And I get this question often, very often. I have people who ask me all the time, is it a good idea to get into a house that's been a foreclosure? It can be. If you're willing to put a little bit of time and energy and effort into it, it can be a fantastic idea, depending on the condition. And that's why auction houses, they're not something I typically would tell somebody to look at. I would look at an REO house, something that's up on market, that a realtor can go in, that an inspector can go in, that you can go and actually physically look, feel, see, and touch. Those houses can be a great deal. I actually did one of those houses for a client last summer. They'd been trying to find a house for years. Finally, we found this REO. It had been a foreclosure, real estate owned, up on the market, very fair value. It needed a little bit of work. It had a septic system, so we had to do some septic tests. We had to do a pump test. We had to make sure the system was working and doing well. We had to do a pressure test. And then we had to invest a little bit of money. It's scary to do it, but they did it. And the end result, the net result was this family got a beautiful home that once they're done doing the work they need to do is going to be an amazing home, and they're going to make a tremendous positive cash outlay on it from the equity in the house, because the day that we closed, 2 other houses had closed in the time since we made our offer, acceptance, and closure. 2 other houses on the same street had closed for $20,000 more than we paid. So once they fix that house up, they're going to be in a very strong equitable position. So foreclosures can be a great idea. It all depends on where you are, the market you're in, the price that you're going to get, the condition of the home. In terms of auctions, talk to a local agent near you, but I really caution against them most of the time. I just don't think an auction house is a good idea. If you can't see what you're buying, and this is the biggest asset you'll ever own, you might want to shy away from that. So that's the questions and answers for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Be back soon.